Today I'm going to talk about two things, that's very simple things you can do to enhance your safety if you're a female who, even if you're not doing things alone, just two smart things. You know, I think everything, this topic has been on women's minds this week after the abduction of Eliza Fletcher, who was running early in the morning. And I think my very first takeaway, and people are not going to like when I say this, my very first takeaway of this is the big mistake is that women think that they're safe ever, right? We tend to walk around our world blissfully oblivious, thankfully most of us, to the dangers that could happen. And number one, that is an issue. Like, you always need to be aware. We're never safe. We're not safe walking, you know, doing anything by ourselves in a city, out in the country, whatever. Sure, we might live in places that tend to be more safe, so we let our guard down. But I think that it is something that you always need to be aware of if you're a female doing solo activities, is that we are never really safe. We always should be taking the precautions that are simple to make us as safe as possible, right? So it is absolutely not her fault, and no one deserves, obviously, to be abducted, murdered, attacked, any of those things. Hey, Michelle. But I think one big mistake is that while we believe we deserve to be safe while running, walking, or doing anything on our own, the reality is we are not. So in my opinion, I can spend my energy getting upset because I should have the right to be safe, but I'm not, or I can use my energy doing the things I need to do to protect myself and keep myself as safe as possible while being able to do things solo outdoors. Good morning. So today I'm just going to talk about two very simple things. Number one, if you're a social media person, if you're not a social media person, this doesn't apply to you. If you're one of the many of us that are social media people, tip number one, stop putting your locations on anything, right? So in the past year, I've done a lot to reduce not my visibility, but I tend not to post things about where I've gone until after I'm gone, after I've left that area, right? So last weekend I was in Northern Arizona. I didn't post anything about Northern Arizona until I got back, right? Stop posting where your homes are. Stop posting what school your kids are going to, right? All of these things are just very simple ways for people who have not good intentions to track you down. There is a very, very sad story this year, about a cyclist. Some people may know about this, named Mo, professional cyclist, who was shot in a friend's home in Texas as part of a love triangle situation. And the way that the woman who shot her found out where she was staying is because Mo had been posting her cycling rides on her social apps, and the woman could literally see the house she was starting from. So this is a big one. Besides, just stop putting your locations even in your profile. No one needs to know what city you live in. Nobody needs to know what high school you went to, right? I just don't think that those are really public information details that people need to know. So think about starting to remove some of those things. Do we want to think about that stuff? No, but again, we should. Okay, so the one I'm going to use is Strava. Oh, you can't see it with the light. The light's going right into it. So I use Strava for all of my outdoor activities. If you use Map My Run or any of those social exercise apps, you can use enhanced privacy settings to keep people from knowing where you are going. So same type of thing, like I don't typically post, obviously, my rides and stuff till after I'm done, but I also have, this is specifically in Strava, and if you have a different app, you'll have to check out the settings, but in Strava you can create a privacy field around your home or any place. I have mine around my home, right? So you can set it to 1/8 of a mile, 1/4 of a mile, a mile. They have several different versions. You go into your settings, you go into privacy, you put your address in, you set how far of a privacy circle, say you say 1 mile, 1 mile around your home, and then you hit save. What this does is every time you log in a run, a walk, a dog walk, a cycling trip, it will not show the map any less than 1 mile around that address, which is good because that means that no one can look, even if you like they're your friends, unless you know every single person who is your friend on your app and it's not public. If it's public, it's even worse. Then no one can see that mile radius of where you're starting from, which is wonderful because otherwise, and unfortunately what happened to this cyclist, Mo, was that she had her start and stop from this location, this home. The person who committed the crime could flip onto satellite view and you can literally zoom into the exact house where you're starting from. Nobody wants that, right? No one should be seeing where you're starting and stopping your runs from if they are especially from home or if you have a friend's house that you start from. So that is my tip number 1. Stop posting all your locations on social media. Start to take some of that stuff off. And if you use one of those social media apps to track your exercise, and make sure whatever privacy settings they have available, you are using them. I only know Strava because that's the one that I am using, but maybe if someone has a different app that they use and you know how to do it, you could post it below. Now, my second favorite thing in the whole world is this little guy. It is a personal alarm. I have 2. I was gonna bring the other one and I forgot. This one my friend Lucy gave to me, thank you. She just kind of sees them and buys them and then gives them to her friends. I'm gonna set it off in a minute. They're horrific. I accidentally set it off for the first time the other day and I did not realize actually how loud they are and they're ear-shattering. So what's great about a personal alarm is that in many cases, whether it's an animal or a person, you just need a little bit of an element of surprise, right? Whether that's gonna be pepper spray or whatever you wanna use. Personal alarm is a very easy one because it's light. You can use it more than once. It gives an ear-shattering squeal that will hopefully surprise whatever attacker, animal, person is near you enough that you can run away. So it has a pin, and if you pull the pin, it's going to go. So ready? Here we go. It's gonna be really loud. Oh, it makes my ears tingle. All right, so that's, I swear, 100 times louder than a fire alarm. So these are wonderful because they're just inexpensive. If something happens to it, no big deal. You can easily get a new one. And you can have this anytime. I wear it latched around my key like a lanyard when I'm walking the dog, or I hold it, but I usually have it latched around my lanyard. The other one I keep is in my hiking running pack, and I just have it right here next to my pepper spray. So this is one of my absolute favorite easy tools that you can literally probably go out and either order today or buy today, and then have at your disposal. So those are my 2 tips today. My third tip, which was not a tip or what I introed with, is the mistake people make is thinking they are ever safe. You are not. And I don't want you to like walk around the world like life being scared. It's being aware, right? And knowing the precautions you should be taking to be safe if you want to do stuff alone, which we should all be able to do safely with some common sense and precautions. So those are the 2 I'm talking about today. If you want to know more, next Thursday night, there's a link. The last post from me on my page last night is a link to sign up for my free webinar. It's going to be on Zoom, The Art of Adventuring Solo. We're going to talk all about things from traveling by yourself to exploring outdoors by yourself, all the other tips and tricks and things I've learned over the years. I've traveled to over 50 countries, and many of them by myself, and I spend lots of time by myself out in the wilderness. So we're going to talk about all the things to help give you the confidence and safety to start doing things alone if you would like. So that's it. I hope you got a couple of good tidbits today. Go out and buy your personal alarm, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.